Christmas wouldn't be Christmas without that centerpiece, that amazing, beautiful, it could be a beef Wellington, it could be some braised venison, or like it's going to be in my house, it's roast turkey. Now this is a 1 kilo turkey breast and it's sat in a brine. You have a 10% brine, 2 litres of water, 200 grams of table salt, whisked together. It hasn't even got to be hot, okay? The salt will dissolve and you stick the turkey breast in it, leave it in there for about 8 hours, okay? In case you leave it in the oven too long, that brining process is going to ensure that this turkey breast is still really nice and juicy and tender. I have here some streaky bacon, thin strips of it. I've got around about 12 to 15 strips of streaky bacon. I'm going to put it onto a board and then with my knife, hold one end and stretch it out, okay? Now, stretching that bacon means that when I wrap the turkey breast in it, it's not going to unravel. And the idea here is to kind of make, I suppose, the ultimate pigs in blanket, except it's not sausage, it's actually the turkey breast. And as you stretch it like that, there's something quite satisfying about this job. It's one of those things, you could do this the day beforehand, no stress, nothing's going to go off, you're all right, you've got plenty of time. It's all about layering it up. You don't need to season or salt up this turkey at all, because the moisture and the fat content from the bacon will keep it nice and juicy and flavoursome and help baste it and cook it. If you leave this in the fridge for 24 hours, that bacon will the flavour from it will start to seep into the turkey breast. It does create just another hint of that crispy, lovely bacon flavour, but you haven't got to do that, okay? This essentially is ready to go. In a roasting tray, some chopped vegetables. Now, we're going to use them to make the gravy afterwards, all right? Now, celery has this kind of, it's almost like floral in taste. You add that to the bottom of the pan, and then we've got some chopped banana shallots, okay? If you can't get banana shallots, use the round shallots. And I'm using shallot instead of onion because it has a higher sugar content. It's sweeter, okay? But then quite importantly, it's mushrooms. Now mushrooms give body, they give structure, okay? This gravy won't taste of mushrooms, it won't taste of shallots, and it won't taste of celery. But all of those ingredients together will start giving some depth of flavour to the gravy. Turkey sits on top of them. And then around the outside of that, some thyme, okay? Fresh thyme. You can use rosemary if you like, but there's something super special about thyme that goes so nicely with sauces and gravies. Now, just to get things started, a big knob of butter. And that is it. Goes into a preheated oven at 185 degrees centigrade. We're going to roast it for about an hour and a half. So the turkey has been roasting for about an hour and a half. I'm just going to take it out, leave it to rest on a rack, and I'll put a little bit of tin foil over the top, just so it keeps it warm. Now this here, the roasting tray, is really important because we're now going to turn this into gravy. So you stick it on the heat quite high, okay? And all of the flavours that are stuck on the bottom of the pan, those roasting juices, you can see the shallots have broken down and disappeared, but all of their natural sweetness is there, all of that flavour is there. The mushrooms, they've almost dehydrated and shrunk up, but that is all flavour, it's all intensified. Now at this point, I'm going to put 20 grams of butter. It's got quite a high fat content in there now. And then I'm going to put about 2 tablespoons of honey, okay? Now this is runny honey. 1, 2. I mean, they give it a sweetness, they give it a depth. Actually, I'm going to cook it out so that honey begins to caramelise straight away. It's going to give an underlying flavour and taste to this stock or this gravy, which is amazing. Just as it's beginning to caramelise, it's going quite dark. Going to put in about 2 tablespoons of soy sauce, and that stops the honey overcooking, all right? And into that, 20 grams of flour. Now this is obviously the thickening bit. This is very much like making a roux, okay? The base of a roux sauce. I have here 500 mils of shop-bought chicken stock. Add about half of it to the pan, put it back on the heat, and start cooking it out, okay? And straight away you can see it's the beautiful rich colour. And making gravy like this always reminds me of my Auntie Jenny. She used to make lovely traditional gravies like this using chicken stock and the roasting tray. You're going to let that cook out for about 3 to 4 minutes and that flour, that kind of raw flour taste disappear. I'm going to pour in the rest of the stock, make sure it all mixes in. And we're going to bring that up to the boil, gently simmer it for about 4 or 5 minutes, and we're going to pass it through a sieve and the gravy will be ready. Okay, so the gravy thickening up nicely. Just going to give it a little taste. Needs a pinch of salt, and it also needs a little hint of acidity. Lemon juice will work really nicely, but for me, vinegar. This is a Cabernet Sauvignon vinegar. I mean, that sounds a bit posh. It's just red wine vinegar. You just need something that gives it a lift. I mean, Worcester sauce would work nicely. Just something, give it a bit of a zing and make it come to life. It's ready to be passed through a sieve into a clean saucepan or a jug, ready for serving. Now this is the hardest part of making a gravy, actually passing it through the sieve without spilling it all over the stove. Then just push it through with the rest of the whisk. Squeeze out all those flavours that are in there from the mushrooms and from the shallots and the celery. Your gravy is ready to go. So the turkey's been resting for around about 15 to 20 minutes. And make sure you get yourself a nice sharp carving knife, okay? I'm not gonna hack this to pieces. I'm gonna try and do nice thin pieces, all right? Through the crispy bacon. You can see that process of stretching the bacon out at the beginning to wrap it up means that it hasn't unraveled. So every time I take a slice, each slice has got a lovely layer of bacon over the top. I mean, I'm sure when you saw it come out of the oven, you thought, that's not that big, that's not gonna feed enough people. But look how much you get there. Rested, thinly sliced, absolutely perfect. Roasted turkey gravy. Honestly, that is a Christmas Day delight. But you know what, it's so good, you'll do it again and again. Not just on Christmas Day.